Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. It is Penny and Kim, and we are here today lighting up your Friday with the 5 stars of strengthening families. We are continuing the conversation about relationships, and we are going to first off do our little check-in from last week. Penny, did you want to start with that?
Sure. So last week, we asked you to do some noticing again. We challenged you to start noticing what relationships in your life make you feel stronger and noticing maybe some of the ones that don't and looking into what the differences are. And in which of those relationships do you feel like you're being your best self? Again, withholding judgment, just doing some noticing. And then maybe if you're noticing something that needs some tweaking, taking a small step towards creating that relationship where you do feel strong in your best self for whatever way that means to you. So Kim, I'm going to ask you to tell us about something you've noticed and maybe a small step you might have taken.
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely the relationships that make me feel stronger are the relationships where I I'm free to make a mistake. I'm free to make a mistake and I'm free to be me and even not my best me. Um, it's those are the relationships that make me stronger. Those are the ones that make me feel loved and accepted just the way I am. That I don't need to. And it's funny because there's actually a quote. I believe it's Carl Rogers. I'm going to get it wrong, but it's when I'm allow myself to be me. Funny thing is, that's when I'm able to change. It's not exactly that, but it's something like that. And it's those relationships that allow me to be me that that make me stronger.
And to clarify, when I talk about your best self, I'm talking about your authentic self. So maybe I need to change that. So to me, the best version of me that I can be encompasses all aspects of me. So authenticity as opposed to best. I think I'll change that because yeah, this isn't my strongest relationships are the ones where I feel like you just said I have that ability to be myself, all parts of myself. And yeah, so what I did is try to be clear to convey my ideas about what that means to someone close to me. So not making an assumption that they should know that I need that, um, but being very clear about the fact that um, when I can be myself without feeling judged, and yet I know that you will set personal boundaries that don't allow me to treat you badly, that helps me. So that creating clarity around my own ideas about a relationship is where I've been working.
I love that, Penny. Being clear. Clear is kind. That's Brene Brown. Unclear is unkind. Clear is kind. Love that. Yeah.
So yes, um, again, work in progress. Work in progress.
Absolutely. So this week we are going to be talking about the question that we have for you today is how does technology help you build stronger relationships? I think this is such a fitting question right now. How does technology help you build stronger relationships with the people, with your people, and how does it get in the way? It's kind of a two-part question. So I'm going to pose that to you first, Penny. I want to see what your thoughts are on that.
Well, over the past almost year, it's been almost a year with COVID. I know that for a lot of people who felt really isolated, who were really quite social people, that need to connect didn't go away. And so for me, I look at technology like I look at most advances in human gadgets, things that make our lives easier, all of those things. It's really important. And I tend to be a restrictor more, which I've worked on, but I really think that people that really need connection, a lot of connection, that it can be a godsend. Like, so in my own personal life, my mother, who lives 12 hours away from me, who lives alone, who I would visit 3-4 times a year, we were no longer able to see her. So being able to, Zoom call her or and be able to see her face, like talking on the phone is good. Being able to see her face and let her see us, the kids and me, was important. And we didn't need to do it all the time, but occasionally it was really good just to see her, because you can just see she's doing okay, right? So that for me is a really good example of technology being helpful. To me, where the line gets crossed is, when does it interfere? To me, it interferes with becoming too available and becoming too wrapped up in it to the point that your actual interactions with people are suffering, because it isn't the same thing. So learning how to read body language and facial expressions, all those things that our children need to learn and we need to be reminded of, are lost often. I mean, maybe not with Zoom, but it's different. I mean, I'm a bit of a sensitive person, so I'm reading people all the time in person with all kinds of sensory input. So I still have the body language component, but there's just something missing there for me. So it can be really exhausting. And also feeling available all the time. So if you carry a cell phone with you everywhere you go, you feel available all the time. People text, phone, whatever. And I think that can be a bit of an issue. So I think for me, setting really good boundaries around work and around personal. I'm not going to reply to your text after 9 o'clock unless it's an emergency. If you have an emergency, don't text me, phone me, because I don't happen to carry my phone around with me. So yeah, again, it sort of boils down to boundaries and using it to our advantage without becoming addicted. Oh, that was a bit of a rant. So Kim.
Yeah, there's so many things that I want to touch on. I hope I can remember. I tried to jot down a few things as you were talking, but yeah, I hear you definitely with the there's a difference between FaceTime and social media. First of all, I mean, social media, was the FaceTime and the Zoom, that's sort of fairly new to us, in the last year. I guess we've really gotten to use that. I think sometimes it's not, social media is not satiating, or it's not fulfilling. It feels like it is, but not to that deep level that we need as human being. And it comes down to human touch, comes down to the 5 senses, because even on a Zoom video, we're only accessing a couple of them, the visual and the hearing. There's no touch, there's no sense of smell, there's no sense, right? So there's pieces missing still. Even though Zoom is better than just doing social media, the problem with social media is that it feels like a connection, but it's not actually that deep human connection that we all need and yearn for, I guess, without maybe even realizing it, right? So the where I think it gets in the way is that it feels like it's been we've got that need met, but we actually don't. And so we're left with this empty feeling, and we don't quite understand it, yet we're connecting here, right? But there's an empty feeling. And then the other one that I wanted to talk about that I think is fairly obvious, when you're in person with somebody and they're on their phone, that's another way it can get in the way. Whether you're with, talking with your friend and they, get their phone, which they're always right nearby, aren't they? Oh, just a minute, I've got to talk to this friend. Oh, that just tells me that this friend is more important than this friend, right? So that's where it can get in the way. Gosh, in parenting, not actually soaking up those moments when your child's on the playground or when your child's in the room. I'm so glad I was not around as a parent, because it can be quite addictive. When I was a young parent, I'm so glad it wasn't around. So those habits, and even still, sometimes I have to consciously put it down when I'm talking with my daughter or my husband. So one thing that we've done is we've not allowed them at the table. Whether it's, well, it hasn't been in a restaurant, but whether it's in a restaurant or our own table, we've put them down, and now trying to put them down during just ordinary conversations. So yeah, this is a hot topic. I can see where we could go on forever about this.
And very generational. And
Yes.
so it can create some divides in families. My husband and I are more mature parents, so not that we aren't tech savvy, but it is important to understand that it's a much bigger part of our children's lives than our own childhoods, and that fighting it is futile. Again, I think, like most things in life, it comes down to finding when does your using it to a positive outcome become it using you to a negative outcome. So the addiction or the numbing, like you talk about, on social media, and we don't feel satiated. So more and more time. And I think what I was hearing you say was that's a very superficial level of things.
Yes.
So it doesn't meet the deeper need. So it's like eating junk food or eating sugar, which kind of doesn't ever really make you feel full, but it makes you want more, right? So it's not nourishing to our souls.
Yeah, it's tricky because it doesn't feel superficial. It doesn't feel superficial. It feels good. But I love what you said. It's not nourishing. And there's the piece. That's why it's not satiating. It doesn't hold us over. It doesn't, right? It feels like it does in the moment, but it truly doesn't. That's why we're left with that hunger. Same as we are when we eat the junk food that feels really good in the moment. We're still left with a hunger. Yeah. So what's one thing that we can do, an action step that we can take for next week to?
Well, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I think it starts with noticing, checking in. Am I putting technical or technological interacting over human interacting? Because nowadays, you are more limited in that personal interacting.
Mm-hmm.
And so with those around you, even, are you letting it come in between? Is it at your table if you eat together? Is it constantly in your hand? Or, everyone has to decide for themselves what their limits are. And how do we go about achieving the balance between using it to our best advantage or getting it to be too much, rolling over into addiction, unhealthy habits? And that's not for me to say for anybody else but myself. So I would challenge people to have a look and take a small step if they feel like, and really look with really objectivity, maybe, like, because often when you're in the middle of it, it doesn't seem like it's too much. But maybe even something as dramatic as keeping track. Most phones have an app. I used to keep track manually of how long I would be on Facebook for. I did that for a 2-week period, and then I was able to look at it and go, oh, that is more than I want to be on it for.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe you want to try something like that.
Do you know what I love about what you just said about the broken record is that is that this has actually been a common thread through all of our weeks is the going within, the looking within. It starts with self. And the good news about that is that we actually then have the power to do something about it. Because if it is about everybody else, we can't control that. The only person that we can really make the change is within ourselves. So I love that there's this thread it starts here. Yeah.
And again,
And yes,
you're the expert
looking,
of that.
yes, yes.
So
Yeah.
we can invite you to think about it and maybe look at it from the outside in, but we are not here to tell you how you should live your life. There's no shoulds here. So
Yeah.
that's our invitation and our challenge for this week. And this will be the final installment in our 4-part series on relationship and social connections. So our next 4-part series will focus on knowledge of parenting and child development. So the idea around how does knowing better help you do better? Right? That's Maya Angelou. When we know better, we do better.
Yeah.
So we're going to invite you to participate in learning some things that you might not already know.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, spending your time with us. Hopefully the sun's going to shine on you this weekend wherever you are.
Yes, and in the meantime, check us out at www.fcss.ca. We're available. You check out all of our programs and contact information there. We're available for you guys. We're here for you.
Thanks for remembering that.
You're welcome.
All right. See you all next week, 1 o'clock Friday. Bye.
See you. Bye.